Darling, I didn't approve. I haven't spoken to Father since.
That's right, Cleve. I'm like Thelma. I can't help you if you don't give me a chance.
I don't need any help, thank you. Pam, you better leave.
Cleve, I only wanted to. Goodbye, Marshal.
It's only that you don't seem to have your mind on this Jordan case. It's the biggest chance you've ever had.
I have my mind on it.
You wanted more evidence, and we gave it to you. The emerald necklace. And still you act like you wanted to get it over with and get away somewhere.
That's right.
Well, that's different. I'm sorry. But in the meantime, don't muff this case. You must always keep the jury with you. Remember, prosecuting a woman is different. Much more delicate.
I'll do my best.
You wouldn't like to go over your opening speech?
You'll hear it in the morning.
Hello, Mr. Scott. Well, tomorrow's the big day, huh?
That's right. See you in court.
Good luck, Mr. Marshall.
The why of this crime, the how, the where, the when, and the what that should be its punishment. Only of the latter have I not yet spoken to you. I remind you, ladies and gentlemen, of the long and arduous procedure of jury selection we have just been through. During that time, to each prospective juror, I put the same question. Do you believe in capital punishment? You particular 12 said that you did. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here.
Let's get her convicted first, then worry about the penalty.
Maybe you said to yourself, she isn't guilty, and I won't have to recommend death. But you will, Mrs. Asher, and all the rest of you, because I'm going to prove to you that Thelma Jordan is guilty.
Watch, Mrs. Asher.
And you'll have no qualms, religious, humane, or otherwise, about this death penalty. I'll expect you to be as cold and unemotional in your verdict as Thelma Jordan was in passing the sentence of death upon her aunt. A life for a life. That's all I ask you to remember. The state calls its first witness, Dr. C.B. Griffith.
Too long, confused. And that capital punishment angle, the most controversial subject in crime, and you had to hit it. You've antagonized the jurors.
Maybe I did get a little wound up. I'll be more careful.
I always said I was partial to second-string teams.
You sure?
He couldn't have picked out our juror better if he tried. Mrs. Asher, she hates him. Uncharitable, unchristian. You ought to thank Mr. Marshall in your prayers sometime.
I will.
Well, we'll be back at it again in an hour for the last session, I hope. How'd the press boys feel about it?
Well, the case about the clothes are all asking for Mr. X.
Who isn't? Our one weak point. Why we ever had to introduce him in the first place.
I didn't, certainly. And finding him wasn't my department. I may have handled some things wrong. I'm sorry about Mrs. Asher. But I've been buttering her up lately.
And she knows it.
So, okay, stop riding me. I didn't ask for this case.
I know you didn't, Cleve.
I got all the evidence in, didn't I? We'll cook her on that.
Well, unfortunately, that's not all it takes. And Willis has been too clever combating it. Did you get that this morning? The gun and the necklace could have been hidden in that smudge pot by the fleeing bandit until he could come back for them later. Who'd believe that? Except Mrs. Asher. Anyway, Cleve, this afternoon's your big chance. When you get her on the stand with that new ammunition we've got, then you can really tie into her.
Don't worry.
Let her try and explain away her past. That's all, brother.
Our lawyer said not to talk to anyone unless he was here.
If I do all the talking, no blackjacks, no hidden microphones. Come in.
Don't go far, Matron.
Don't worry. He's going to offer you leniency if you confess. They always do that. It's a chance, Jordan.
Oh, Cleve. Cleve, I've waited for this. In court, when you look at me with such hate, or don't look at me.
I have to do that.
Sometimes I think that hate is real, and I can't bear it.
Why do you think it might be real?
The evidence. It has piled up, hasn't it?
Sort of. But I don't believe anything I don't see.
I thought maybe that was why you were here, losing confidence in me.
No, in myself. There's no guarantee that this is going to turn out all right.
It's got to after all you've done. I know the chances you're taking. I'm frightened, too.
Of anything special?
Being on the stand the way you're going to have to go after me.
If you tell the truth, there's nothing to worry about.
I can't tell all of it.
What can't you tell?
But you, me, Sydney coming in. You're having to get out so fast.
That I'm going to handle in another way. What other truth can't you tell me, though?
I don't know.
There are things I'm going to have to ask you about your past.
That's no mystery. I already told you.
The prim, repressed hostess in the hotel.
Yes, that's right.
Then this must be another Thelma Jordan. Gambling raid photos. Miles got them from the Florida police. That blonde gave a phony name. Is it you?
No.
It's not very convincing.
It's not me, Cleve, as I was once maybe, but not now.
Come, you're quibbling.
In the days with Tony, I told you, but not now.
The past is the prelude to the future. Didn't you ever hear that, Miss Jordan? For whose benefit have you changed? Miss Edwards? So she'd leave you her money?
That's not true.
Perhaps we should call you Sarah Bernhardt, Jordan. You told me what you wanted to be, an actress.
Stop it, Cleve!
You can't tell me stop it, Cleve, in court.
That's why I'm petrified with fear of going on the stand.
And I've just begun.
What else?
No more photos, facts. Coincidental, but still facts. Your shiny life with Mr. Laredo. Odd that wherever it's shown, there's whiffs of blackmail, minor thefts, borrowed for all quarrels.
You can't hold that against me.
The jury will.
Cleve. Cleve, look at me. I'm not like that. I'm not.
Unfortunately, the jury doesn't look at you like I do.
What are we going to do?
A fast call from Mr. X to Mr. Willis. I'm taking a chance. Stick with it. Matron.
Get anywhere, Mr. Marshall? I could have told you you wouldn't.
Calls its last witness, Thelma Jordan.
There are no further witnesses, Your Honor. The prosecutor has an objection.
I should like to argue, Your Honor, for our right to cross-examine.
Right? What right? What law book did you study from?
I said to argue the right.
How can you argue the right of something that doesn't exist? If the defendant takes the stand to be examined by me, then you have the right to cross-examine, not otherwise. If the prosecutor feels cheated, Your Honor, then it's entirely his own fault. Believe me, there is nothing I would like better than to put my client on the stand. But to subject her to this prosecutor whose vitriolic attack on
personalities of the prosecution and the defense should be kept out of this, Your Honor.
Will you please tell him once and for all?
Mr. Marshall, as I'm sure you know, there is no law which requires a defendant to take the stand. She does not have to prove her innocence. Guilt must be proved against her.
Thank you, Your Honor. As I was saying, I cannot with conscience subject my client to any furtherance of this trial. There is anyway only one question that I would ask her on the witness stand. Did you kill your aunt, Miss Jordan?